Today, we find ourselves at the brink of a farewell, a cosmic send-off that is unique and will never happen again. The most difficult reality to accept isn't merely that it is departing, but rather that we were unprepared. December 19, 2025. Remember this date. As you listen, a traveler from the farthest corners of the galaxy is nearing Earth, currently situated about 270 million kilometers away, a silent wanderer traversing the void. They call it 3E Atlas. The name 3E indicates it's the third interstellar object identified by humanity, the third phantom to glide through our solar system, joining the ranks of Oumuamua and Boris. However, 3E Atlas stands apart. It is more than just a rock or a comet. It embodies a mystery encased in ice and something else entirely, something that has challenged our most refined theories and sparked debate among astronomers from Chile to Hawaii. As we engage in discussions, it accelerates. While we deliberate about funding for future interceptor missions that haven't even been conceived yet, it eludes our grasp. NASA and the European Space Agency have monitored it since July, redirecting Hubble, James Webb, and the Mars orbiters toward it. They have scrutinized its light, speed, and trajectory, and the official conclusions may seem reassuring. They classify it as a natural object, a carbon-rich comet releasing gas as it warms under our sun. Case closed. Not quite. As 3E Atlas speeds away, retreating into the interstellar abyss whence it originated, it carries with it secrets that we are only beginning to perceive. The alarming truth is that time is slipping away for us to unravel them. Our telescopes were constructed to observe stars that remain stationary, not the fleeting specters racing past at 30 kilometers per second. Once it crosses the orbit of Jupiter in March 2026, it will vanish into darkness, forever lost to our sight. Therefore, today, we will not simply reiterate the announcements from the press. Instead, we will examine the anomalies, the data points that deviate from expectations, the occurrences that provoke questions about whether we're observing a geological peculiarity or technology beyond our understanding. We must contemplate whether we have neglected the most crucial communication in history, due to our inability to respond swiftly enough. Let's begin with the most recent revelation: methanol, commonly known as wood alcohol. It is simple, flammable, and toxic. However, on 3E Atlas, it is not merely present. It is gushing forth. Recent findings from the ALMA radio telescope in Chile have unveiled something astonishing. This object is emitting methanol gas at a staggering rate of 40 kilograms every second. Take a moment to consider that. 40 kilograms per second is an immense quantity. This is substantially higher than what is typically observed in comets formed within our solar system. Why is this unusual? Because comets generally serve as time capsules, preserving the chemical makeup of their birthplace star systems. If 3E Atlas is releasing this much methanol, it suggests an origin in a location vastly different from our solar system, characterized by an alternative chemical composition. Some researchers have proposed a compelling theory, indicating that this abundance of methanol might indicate that the comet was formed in a metallic-rich environment. They speculate that as water seeps into the core, it interacts with iron compounds to produce methanol. Metal. Keep that thought in mind. A metal-laden interior, a dark, crusty surface subjected to cosmic rays for millions of years, concealing a metallic core. Avi Loeb, the Harvard astronomer who notably theorized that Oumuamua might be artificial, is closely observing 3E Atlas. He poses the uncomfortable question: could what we are observing be more than mere venting? If you were a traveler, navigating between stars, and needed to adjust your trajectory, or perhaps release waste heat or propellant, how would that appear to a primitive telescope millions of miles distant? Would it resemble a gas jet? Would it parallel a comet's tail? We are aware that 3E Atlas has developed not just one, but two tails, a dust tail along with a rare anti-tail directed toward the sun. However, in November, observers reported noticing something curious: complex formations, jets, with 4 or 5 distinct streams of material emerging in various directions. Nature can be chaotic, yet these jets appear to function as stabilizers, jets that switch on and off. Then there's the coloration. Initially, it exhibited a deep, dark red hue, characteristic of objects weather-beaten by cosmic radiation over eons. As it approached the sun, it changed to green. This may be commonplace as diatomic carbon emits green, but then it turned blue. In late October, soon after its closest pass to the sun, images revealed a transition to a blue tone. Scientists attribute this to ionized gases, specifically nitrogen and carbon molecules, glowing intensely in the powerful solar wind, forming a teardrop-shaped cocoon of blue dust. It is almost as if the object is reacting to the awakening of our star. And as we discuss this awakening, let's examine the heartbeat. On November 10th, the online community buzzed with rumors that 3E Atlas was transmitting that a radio signal had been detected. Astronomers promptly dismissed these claims, utilizing the Meerkat telescope in South Africa to confirm the presence of radio emissions at frequencies around 1665 and 1667 MHz. They reassured everyone, "Relax, it's natural." They attributed it to maser emissions from hydroxyl radicals, explaining that the sun's UV radiation breaks apart water molecules, causing the resultant oxygen atoms to emit radio waves, a natural laser, a cosmic hum. However, the issue with this natural explanation lies in the underlying assumption that the object in question is indeed natural. If you accept it as a comet, the signal is treated as a maser. But if you were unaware of its comet-like nature and merely detected a continuous radio hum, would you still be so certain? We might be observing the exhaust sound of a celestial engine and dismissing it as mere weather phenomena. This is the tragedy surrounding 3 We are witnessing these clues: the methanol, the metallic core, the jets, the radio hum, and we are fitting them into preconceived categories. We label it a comet because it feels safe, while the alternative is too monumental to confront. But what if our labeling is misguided? We missed that crucial moment of closest approach to the sun. It occurred on October 29th, obscured by the sun's glare. We were unable to see clearly, and when it finally emerged, it was brighter and blue. It had withstood a thermal encounter that should have dismantled a loose aggregate, yet it remained intact. Instead of breaking apart, it appeared to energize. Now it is moving past us. Located 1.88 astronomical units away, a safe distance. Yes, but still beyond our reach. We cannot dispatch a probe to intercept it. We lack the necessary speed. We can only observe from our windows as the train departs the station, leaving us with the biggest riddle of all, a question buried within the shadows of its origin. Where did it originate? Tracing its orbit back, we discover it didn't emerge from the Oort cloud or the Kuiper belt. It came from deep space, drifting for millions, perhaps even billions of years. Think of what it has witnessed. Envision the stars it has traversed. Is it a fragment of life? Some scientists believe it might be referring to the concept of panspermia, the theory that comets like this could carry essential building blocks of biochemistry, such as water, carbon, and methanol, from one star system to another, pollinating the galaxy. If that's true, then 3E Atlas is not merely a visitor. It's a gardener, and we are merely one of the flower beds it examines. Yet there exists a darker hypothesis, one that the NASA reports won't disclose. What if it serves as a scout? What if the anomalies, course corrections, resilience to heat, and specific methanol emissions are deliberate rather than happenstance? We may never know the answers, as in just a few months, it will become a ghost once more, a faint trace in the telescopes, and then nothing, just emptiness. But before it departs, there's one final matter we need to explore. Something that was detected in the latest images from the Mars orbiters indicates that 3 Atlas might not be traveling alone. Let's revisit Mars. On October 1st, the comet came within 30 million kilometers of the Red Planet Tower. First intimate encounter. NASA's Perseverance rover, the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter, and ESA's ExoMars were observing intently, and they noted a subtle glow, a specter in the Martian sky. However, what they failed to observe is equally significant. They did not witness the typical chaotic disintegration that usually accompanies a dirty snowball. Nearing the inner solar system, 3E Atlas held together. Then the tails emerged, not merely the dust trail left behind like exhaust. On October 19th, the Keck Observatory in Hawaii identified something extraordinary, an antipatela, bright spike of light pointing directly toward the sun. Standard physics provides an explanation. It's merely a visual illusion, caused by the Earth intersecting the comet's orbital plane, making the dust disk appear edgy on. This is a valid scientific interpretation, but consider it from another perspective for a moment. Imagine you're piloting a vessel, diving toward a star, using its gravitational pull to launch back into the void, and in need of stabilization. You might fire a thruster forward against your motion toward the sun. Visually, an antitail precisely resembles such a braking maneuver, and we know it has maneuvered. This detail keeps orbital dynamicists awake at night. Upon its exit from perihelion, or its closest point to the sun, 3E Atlas didn't deviate significantly from its expected trajectory. Yet, there was a shift and alteration of approximately 4 arcseconds. NASA refers to this as non-gravitational acceleration, a common occurrence for comets. The gas ejection acts like a rocket, nudging the rock slightly off course, commonly known as the rocket effect. But here's the twist. Generally, that outgassing is unpredictable, causing the comet to tumble erratically. In the case of 3E Atlas, it remained remarkably stable, absorbing the push, adjusting its path, and maintaining a smooth flight. Avi noted this anomaly, pointing out the lack of a prominent visible tail early on. Combined with its precise movement, both very convenient circumstances. What about its composition? We've discussed the methanol, but what encloses that methanol? Recent studies suggest that the surface of 3 Atlas is enveloped in a dark, dense crust, a protective layer measuring up to 20 meters thick. This isn't merely dust, it's a shield. Scientists hypothesized that this crust was formed through cosmic ray processing, This object has navigated through the void between stars for such an extended period, millions of years, that high-energy radiation has solidified its outer layer into a carbon-rich asphalt. Consider that for a moment. A 20-meter thick shell of hardened carbon that shelters volatile ices from boiling away too quickly, enabling it to endure the intense heat of our sun without disintegrating. Is this a natural formation? Probably nature is adept at crafting durable shells. Yet, it also bears an unsettling resemblance to a heat shield. If one were to design a craft capable of surviving millions of years of interstellar travel, traversing various star systems, withstanding radiation and heat, it would not be constructed from shiny metal. Instead, it would utilize durable materials that could withstand the test of time, materials that harden with age. This dark shell conceals everything within. We cannot discern surface features, craters, or any potential structures. We are presented only with this darkened, baked armor. Within lies the methanol, water, the fundamental components of life, or perhaps fuel for a journey. We are staring at a traveler fortified against the cosmos, transporting a cargo of high-energy chemicals, stabilizing itself with jets, and resonating in the radio spectrum, and we are allowing it to slip away. We have no option. It is hurtling forward at 30 kilometers per second on a hyperbolic path leading it beyond our solar system, indefinitely. By March 2026, it will cross Jupiter's orbit, and by 2030, it will be entirely absent from our celestial neighborhood. We will never uncover what lies beneath that crust. We will never ascertain whether that radio hum was communication or merely the sound of evaporating water molecules. However, there exists one final theory we must explore, a theory linking 3E Atlas to an event on Earth nearly 50 years ago. A signal from the past. Do you remember the WOW signal? In 1977, a powerful narrowband radio burst detected by the Big Ear telescope emanated from the constellation Sagittarius. It lasted for 72 seconds and was never heard again. Now, where did 3E Atlas originate? If you trace its orbit back, it aligns with that same region of the sky. Is this a mere coincidence? The universe is rife with them. But what if 3E Atlas is not just passing through? What if it's been here before? Or perhaps it sent a signal ahead of its arrival? Let's unravel that thought. The WOW signal from 1977, a burst of radio waves resonating on the hydrogen line, the universal frequency of hydrogen, the most ubiquitous element in the universe. Now 3E Atlas hums on the hydroxyl line. Hydrogen paired with hydroxyl equals water. H+O results in H2O. If constructing a beacon to announce your arrival to a civilization reliant on water, wouldn't you transmit on the frequencies associated with water? Perhaps it is merely coincidence. Perhaps the sun is merely causing ice to vaporize. Nevertheless, the symmetry is both poetic and unsettling. Then, consider the structure of the tail. On November 8th, just before the Anatail manifested, astronomers observed something else. The tail was not merely a blur. It demonstrated complexity. Images revealed 4 or 5 distinct jets or streamers radiating from the nucleus. Comets typically generate jets when the sun heats an ice pocket beneath the surface, causing explosive release akin to a geyser. However, these gases usually appear sporadic, activating and deactivating with the comet's rotation. The jets of 3E Atlas appear stable and organized, resembling exhaust manifolds from a colossal engine. If you needed to steer a 5 kilometers wide object through a star's gravitational pull, you wouldn't let gas escape indiscriminately. You would direct it. Is that what we witnessed, a navigational adjustment masquerading as outward emission? Keep in mind that this object is massive. Preliminary estimations suggested it might measure up to 5 kilometers in width, a mountainous structure floating through space, and it is undoubtedly dense. Its movement and resistance to solar wind imply a weight greater than a loose ball of snow. If its metallic core hypothesis holds true, as indicated by the methanol production, it becomes a solid, heavy projectile with calculated intent. We overlooked a critical moment. October 29th, perihelion. The instant it skimmed across the sun's surface, it was concealed by the sun's radiance, leaving us blind. For a brief moment, 3E Atlas was left alone with our star. What transpired in that encounter? We know it entered in the red spectrum and emerged in blue. We know it entered discreetly, but emerged brilliantly. Did it absorb energy? There exists a concept in theoretical physics labeled stellar refueling, which posits the idea of utilizing a star's atmosphere to absorb plasma to recharge energy cells. It may sound like science fiction, but let's consider the data. This object notably brightened, released an extraordinary surge of energy, and its color shifted toward the ultraviolet spectrum. Did we just witness a strategic pit stop? Now let's reconsider the Gardner theory. If 3E Atlas is indeed natural, it serves as a delivery mechanism, distributing water, carbon, methanol, and complex organic compounds throughout our solar system. It is sowing seeds. But if it is artificial, what precisely is it sowing? Is it deploying sensors? Is it leaving behind microscopic probes? As it approaches Mars and Earth, is it depositing something behind? Although we can perceive the dust and gas, Could we discern a swarm of tiny monitors drifting into our atmosphere? Unlikely. All we would perceive is a beautiful comet gracing the night sky. This notion troubles me greatly. We take pride in our telescopes, believing we observe everything. Yet 3E Atlas has illuminated how little we actually know. We debate whether it's a rock or a ship, yet perhaps it epitomizes neither. Maybe it symbolizes a message beyond our comprehension. Perhaps the methanol is neither fuel nor mere chemistry. Maybe the spectral lines represent a coded message. Perhaps the radio hum is a compressed, encrypted data stream transmitting information back towards Sagittarius, the center of our galaxy. We are gazing at a finger pointing toward the moon. Yet we fixate on analyzing the dirt beneath the fingernail. We miss the core message, which is that we are not alone. Whether 3E Atlas is a natural wanderer or an engineered voyager, it signifies that the galaxy is interconnected, that matter, energy, and possibly life traverse the cosmos. We are not isolated. We are merely a stop on a highway along which traffic flows. Yet, the gravest aspect of this tale is that we are letting it fade away. We have no mission prepared. We lack a rocket on the launch pad capable of pursuing it. The European Space Agency has proposed a Comet Interceptor mission, but it is not ready to respond. We witnessed the discovery of a millennium slip past us, while we wave goodbye from the shore. Why? Because we weren't vigilant, because we did not anticipate its arrival, because we believed we had time. 3E Atlas teaches us one vital lesson above all. The universe does not wait for us to be prepared. It unfolds, and if you blink, you might miss it. So what now? The show is drawing to a close. As December transitions into January 2026, 3E Atlas will begin to fade. Its brightness will decrease from magnitude 11 to magnitude 14, returning to phantom status visible only to the most powerful telescopes in existence. Then there will be silence. The radio hum along the hydroxyl line will diminish beneath the galaxy's background noise. The blue luminescence will fade as it distances itself from the solar wind, and the jets will deactivate, their function complete. We will be left with terabytes of data, analyzing the spectra of that methanol for years to come. We will model the deviations in trajectory until our supercomputers overheat. We will compose research papers and engage in spirited debates at conferences. Yet, there will always remain aspects we will never comprehend. This is the hardest truth to accept. We will never uncover what exists beneath that 20-meter crust. Is it merely ice and rock, or is there an intricate structure locked within its core, awaiting discovery? We may never ascertain whether the antitail was simply dust or evidence of a braking maneuver. We will never know if it observed us. Consider that for a moment. We dedicated months to staring at it. Did it gaze back at us? If it were indeed a probe, did it assess our radio emissions? Did it chart our atmosphere? Did it catalog the illumination on the shadowed side of our planet? Perhaps that's why it didn't pause. Perhaps it gleaned all that it needed. Or maybe, just maybe, it left behind a calling card. Astronomers are already planning to track the trajectory of the dust. It dispersed the breadcrumbs. If 3E Atlas acted as a gardener, those seeds will inevitably drift into our atmosphere. Perhaps in a century, a meteor shower will introduce fragments of it to Earth. Maybe then, we will finally hold a piece of its essence in our laboratory. But until that moment arrives, 3E Atlas remains a reflection of ourselves. We gaze upon it and perceive what we desire. Skeptics see merely a rock. Dreamers envision a ship. The fearful perceive a threat. Yet the universe remains indifferent to our interpretations. It simply exists. This marks the third visitor, Muamua, Boris, and now 3, all within a decade. The door is ajar, and traffic is on the rise. Or perhaps we are merely awakening, finally looking out the window. Whatever it may be, it has transformed us. It has reminded us that the solar system is not a bastion. It is a bus stop, and the next bus is already approaching. Will we be ready for number 4? If you wish to stay informed about the analysis of 3E Atlas and be among the first to learn of the next visitor's arrival, be sure to subscribe to this channel. Hit the like button if you believe we ought to be constructing a dedicated interceptor mission right now. The universe is brimming with secrets, and we are just beginning to explore. Good night, and keep looking.